Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation TV with your host, Jeff Charles. Special Counsel John Durham dropped a bombshell filing over a week ago detailing how the Clinton campaign spied on former President Donald Trump while he was in office in order to cook up a false connection between Trump and the Russian government. Now, the Democrats have gone into full spin mode. I have with me Liberty Nation's national columnist, Sarah Cowgill, to discuss the ongoing situation. Thanks for joining the program, Sarah.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
All right, always. So it's always fun when you're with me. Not that it's not fun with others, but it's always fun with you. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
we have a rhythm. We have a good rhythm.
That's right. So let's talk about Durham. I mean, one thing about the Durham investigation for me is that it felt like it was going on for like hundreds of years. And it's like, and I think to some extent, I think people got the sense that this wouldn't really yield any fruit because Americans were impatient. We expect things to happen right now. But what does this recent revelation, in your opinion, say about what the investigation might yield?
I think people just forgot. We're in the business, and so we kind of stay in touch and kind of nosing around, and we go digging through all sorts of sources. But John Q. Public out there, they're like, "What's the Durham report?" It's like, oh my goodness. So there's a lot of people that, yes, were wondering. They just forgot about it. It's been dragging on for so long. But I think what you're seeing now is that he dropped a snippet, just a snippet of the overall investigation. He's not even done with the investigation. And it was such a bombshell that media started scrambling to cover it up or to not have time to air it. It was right before the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to watch that when they can watch the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think people would choose that kind of a media announcement over the Super Bowl. And a lot of people think, well, Hillary Clinton's done and gone. So, what does it matter at this point? What does it matter, to quote a former presidential candidate?
It would be funny if she actually said that again. But yeah, I mean, and it was very interesting too, because when it first dropped, like the media waited they waited a few days before they said anything about it, really. I mean, they weren't touching that. And
they didn't touch it. And yet, it's a powerful piece of knowledge that everyone needs to know. But that not everybody knows. We know it. The media knows it, but they don't report on it. And if they don't report on it, then John Q. Public, that just catches the news here and there, and they don't do their own investigative, research, they're not going to know until they're informed by the media.
Well, and I think it's also important what you said too, that we have to think of it this way. You're right. That was just a snippet. That wasn't the whole thing that Durham dropped. That's just part of an ongoing investigation. So I'm expecting more to come out. But I was reading and I saw that former CIA director John Brennan, and he echoed an argument that I'm hearing other people on the left say. And I want to read this quote for you and get your reaction to it. He said, quote, "If in fact what the Russians were alleging, that Hillary was trying to highlight the reported connections between Trump and the Russians, if in fact that was accurate," and that's a big if, "there is nothing at all illegal about that." So basically he's saying if they were trying to uncover activity between Trump and the Russians, and if it was accurate, then it's not necessarily illegal. I mean, what do you think of that argument?
I think it's a lot of extra words to just, it's the long way around the barn. I'm not somebody who can comment on the legality of any of that. But again, in politics, and especially at this high level, perception is reality. Mm-hmm. And, they did a disservice, no matter what anybody wants to call it or label it or arrest over it. It was a huge disservice, and it was wrong on so many levels. So once that, cat was out of the bag, you can't put it back in. You can't unring a bell. And it just rolled and rolled and rolled. It dismantled a presidency. And there should be consequences. I don't know if there are legal consequences to that. That's something that our own, Scott Cosenza Esquire might be able to answer. But I don't think it matters, legal or otherwise. There was too much damage done at the highest levels of our government.
Yeah, I do think that makes sense. I mean, and it was a word salad on Brennan's part. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, we can't comment on the legalities of this whole thing, right? I saw comments from former Director of National Intelligence, John Radcliffe, who said that this could potentially be actionable if they went to the FBI and CIA and tried to prompt an investigation based on deceptive circumstances. So who knows how this is going to shake out? But that leads me to my last question, Sarah. When all is said and done, when this whole thing is over, who do you think is going down for this whole thing?
Well, let's look at it this way. The 800-pound gorilla fell out of the hat already. Hillary Clinton is the biggest target ever for a lot of people. So to drop what Durham dropped, nobody starts the concert with the opening act. This was the opening act. Nobody starts the concert with the lead band. So what you're going to see here is leading up to a bigger and a bigger and a bigger announcement of what's going on. Now, who goes down for it? I'm going to tell you the highest levels will be connected. Anything with Hillary Clinton is going to be at the highest levels, connected with the most powerful people. Now, who's going to pay the price for it? Every middleman on the planet that will fall on their sword to protect the family, to protect the Clintons. And there's a lot of people out there in that middle of the range that they can put the blame on and let them take the heat. So I don't think you're going to see the biggest of the biggest fall. I think you're going to see them, with a couple of black eyes and smudged up, and all their underlings take the heat for them.
Gotcha. So the king and the queen are going to be okay, but the pawns, there's going to be some the pawns are going to go. They're going to be sacrificed.
And the other thing is, I think potentially the best thing that came out of this, that hopefully even more will come out of it, is that family is toxic nuclear waste for the Democratic Party, and she won't run again, and they'll just fade off into oblivion. Now that would be, what I would hope for the Democratic Party, and probably the Democratic Party hopes the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of wish casting on our part, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. Definitely thanks for coming on the program. I'm sure we'll be picking this up again as more developments surface.
Anytime, Jeff. I like to chew the fat with you.
Awesome. And remember, this show is proudly sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news and analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. Just go to LibertyNation.com on your browser, or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. I'm Jeff Charles. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of LibertyNation.com, where truth is making a comeback.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fighting for freedom.
Maybe tracking polls sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Getting noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.